Good afternoon, bless you, beautiful people. It's been a long day, guys. I just finished a meeting. Welcome back to our evening meeting. The council has resumed its meeting for a public hearing on FY27 operating budgets and FY27-32 Public Services Program and Fiscal Policy for Montgomery County Government, Montgomery College, Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, WSSC, and Montgomery County Public Schools. Committee work sessions on the FY27 operating budgets and FY27-32 Public Services Program and Fiscal Policy for Montgomery County Government, Montgomery College, Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, and WSSC, Water, and Montgomery Public Schools will be scheduled through the end of April. As a reminder of our public hearing testimony guidelines, your comments must be limited to issues relevant to the public hearing topic for which you are testifying and not appropriate for a public meeting. You will hear a tone when your time is up, and we appreciate everyone abiding by their allotted time, which is 3 minutes. I'm going to say this once. Do not interrupt, do not boo, do not comment on anybody who's speaking here. Everybody deserves the same respect. With that, we're going to start with Michael Ritchie. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening. I'm happy to kick us off on behalf of the Recreation and Parks Advisory Board. I believe you heard from Jaslyn, one of our great members, earlier. You'll be hearing from Ryan a little later on. I want to tell you about a recent visit I had to the Long Branch Community Recreation Center, thanks to the hospitality of Brian Mendoza-Diaz, the coordinator there. When you walk into the gym, I encourage you to go after school. It's split into two like this. The after school program on one side and then the high school students playing pickup games on the other. And this may look like an ordinary rotation of programming, but really it's a pipeline. The way Brian described it, you know, kids come in at different stages of growing up. They get to know the staff. They become regulars, ambassadors, your future front desk workers, your future seasonal workers, your future lifeguards. This facility stays open late on Friday nights. They bring in food just so these kids have a place to play basketball. You know, they're building community from the inside out. Now, as you know, Long Branch is more than a rec center. Outside is the pool, and upstairs is the senior center, which has a full calendar of programming. Yes, I have a picture of that, too, because I was so impressed. A full day of programming, right from coffee and social table games down to Zumba here in the afternoon, and lunch in the middle. But of course, there's great demand, and they have to turn some seniors away for a lack of resources. And as you know, this is not unique to Long Branch. Rec is undersized for the population it serves, and we have wait lists for summer camps and senior programs, demand for more fitness classes, more instructors, more courts. People vote with their feet, and Rec is delivering what residents are looking for, offerings that are affordable, accessible, genuinely local, no strings attached. Free passes are working exactly as we hoped they would. They've increased foot traffic by, I want to say, double digits, and we just want to make sure these facilities stay fit for purpose. So what I would say to you is that we're on the verge of a great success story here for Rec, and people like Brian are the ones writing it. It's incredible the work they do, rain, sleet, snow, or shine. They obsess over the people they serve, keeping the calendars right, keeping the equipment running, and I just want to make sure that I'm able to tell them that you have their back, that you're looking out for them, and that you want to make sure they have what they need to keep doing what they want to do and do what they love for the people of the county and all the good they can do if given the opportunity. So to that end, the board urges you to fully fund the Department of Recreation and to help us keep this great success story going. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Gloria Aparicio-Blackwell.
Good evening. My name is Gloria Aparicio-Blackwell, Chair of the Montgomery College Board of Trustees. On behalf of our faculty, students, staff, and alumni here tonight, thank you. Muchas gracias. Let me also note that this is my final opportunity to be in front of you in this role, which makes this moment very meaningful after my 17 years serving Montgomery College. The board recognizes that Montgomery County is facing real challenges: affordability, opportunities, and most notably, inclusion. This is exactly when Montgomery College matters most, because Montgomery College worked for Montgomery County. Every day, we are in the front lines of your priorities. We provide affordable pathways for displaced federal workers, veterans, student parents, recent high school graduates, and residents seeking to reskill or upskill. We offer a safe, welcoming place where people from every corner of this county can move toward opportunity. Right now, more residents are turning to us at rates exceeding states and national trends because they need access to affordable, high-quality post-secondary education. To continue delivering these needs, we are requesting $6.3 million of our first increase in 4 years. Say that loud. We don't make this regular asking very lightly. Our board adopted a disciplined same-service budget that maximizes state aid, tuition revenue, and fund balance, and includes only the second tuition increase since FY20. But we'll still need your help to deliver mission-critical basics, affordable tuition, fair and sustainable compensation for our faculty and staff and part-time faculty to meet growing demand. We have been responsible partners over the past 5 years. Enrollment has grown 23%, while our budget has grown only 12%. And the return on investment is clear. Montgomery College opens door to opportunity at half cost of four-year institutions in the area. 87% of our graduates stay here, contributing to the community. I'm an example of that. For every dollar invested, a student gained $4.70 in lifetime earnings, and taxpayers seeks $1.20 in return. A $6.3 million increases is not simple and an expense. It is a strategic investment projected to generate more than $7.5 million in direct value to the county, in addition to our $1.4 billion total economic impact. That is accountability, that is return of investment, and that is impact. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. No, please don't clapping. No, not happening. Please don't do it. Thank you. You can go like this. We can see you. Grace Manubai, go ahead.
Council President Fanny Gonzalez, member of the County Council, and staff. Good evening. I am Grace Manubay, Chair of the Montgomery County Library Board. The Library Board has 14 members appointed by the County Executive and confirmed by the County Council. We make recommendations to the County Executive and the Library Director on matters affecting the public library system and serve as liaisons with 22 library advisory committees, groups of community members who share with us concerns related to their local libraries. The Library Board understands this is a hard budget year and tough fiscal decisions must be made. MCPL's budget request reflects careful consideration of the entire system's needs. We know that many residents are unhappy with the decision to close half of the branches on Sundays. However, simply restoring the funding for positions recommended for abolishment is not enough to bring back full implementation of Sunday service at all branches. Restored funding must exceed the $624,864 proposed for removal to deliver the exemplary service that all visitors of all libraries should receive. I would like to highlight two of MCPL's proposed budget enhancements. The request of $207,690 designates funding for security, offsetting the operating funds MCPL has been using to provide these services at the Brigadier General Charles E. McGee, Gaithersburg, Germantown, Rockville Memorial, and Quince Orchards branches. Residents have also been waiting many years for the renovation of the Noyes Library for Young Children, and the request of $275,500 supports the purchase of collection materials and supplies. These enhancement requests directly align with the county's priorities of public safety and early childhood education. On behalf of the Library Board, I respectfully request the Council approves the County Executive's proposal fiscal year 2027 budget. Please consider reducing MCPL's lapse rate to allow the department to have a small bit of flexibility to operate within its budget allocation. We ask that you demonstrate the commitment you all have made to ensure Montgomery County is a safe place to learn, work, and live by providing MCPL with sufficient funds needed to serve residents effectively. This year, Montgomery County Public Libraries is celebrating its 75th anniversary. Libraries look different today than they did in 1951. Gone are the card catalogs and the frequent shushing from library staff, but the commitment to providing a safe community space open to all with free access to information remains the same. We invite you to attend a celebratory event in your district so you can see firsthand how MCPL branches are vibrant cornerstones of our communities. With everything happening in the world around us, we need funding for libraries now more than ever.
Thank you. Next, Rick Callahan.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair and esteemed council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Rick Callahan, co-chair of Interact and executive director of Compass. On behalf of Interact, I want to thank you for your long-standing leadership in supporting people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, their families, and the workforce that serve them. Montgomery County is a model because of your commitment. Tonight, we respectfully urge your support of amendment to the FY27 DD supplement, bringing the total from what's currently being proposed a little over $22.9 million to a little over $23.4 million, or 23.5. This 3% increase is essential to sustain the progress we have made together. Because of your leadership, people are receiving high-quality, person-centered supports. DSP wages are approaching a truly living wage. Turnover remains among the lowest in the state of Maryland. More individuals are working, living independently, and fully engaged in their communities. But those gains are at a risk. Over the past 2 years, state-level reductions to the DDA budget have significantly eroded provider capacity. In FY26, DDA providers saw rate cuts to the GEO rate differential and for dedicated supports. In FY27, providers face a 2% across-the-board cut rate reduction, a 4% reduction to personal supports, new requirements to exhaust shared hours before utilizing dedicated hours for enhanced community integration. A couple of stories behind every number is a person. A DSP noticed subtle changes in someone's behavior, fatigue, restlessness, and acted quickly. That vigilance led to emergency care during a life-threatening seizure. In another case, a DSP saved someone's life during a choking incident, responding within seconds. These are not extraordinary moments because of chance. They happen because of stable, trained, and committed workforce. The requested increase, supported by a 44 provider organization, is about preserving that workforce and preventing backsliding at a time of growing need. For nearly 50 years, this has been a partnership built on shared values and trust. Today, we're asking you to stand with us again to correct that progress, ensure that people with IDD in Montgomery County just don't receive services, but they can continue to live, belong, and truly thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Aaron Droller.
Good evening, members of the Montgomery County Council. I am Aaron Droller, and I'm a resident of Silver Spring. And thank you for the opportunity to testify tonight on the county executive's proposed budget. I testify tonight in strong opposition to the county executive's proposed property tax increases and income tax increases and fee increases. Many of my neighbors, many of whom have lost their jobs, are really struggling under the weight of the cost of living crisis in Montgomery County, and it only seems to be getting worse. We face huge property tax reassessments, skyrocketing utility costs, car registration fees, among others. The fiscal issues facing the county are not just a revenue issue. That was made clear by the excellent presentation that was given by your staff today. This is in large measure a county spending issue. The county government spending has outstripped population and economic growth. You have got to get a handle on the growth rate in spending in this county. All options must be on the table, including unpopular ones. So I want to make a few recommendations for you to consider to start the discussion. First, given the explosion in county government spending, you should look at any FTE that has remained vacant for more than 3 years and eliminate it. You should also consider cutting any program that had its original funding with COVID-19 federal dollars. Those programs were never intended to be backfilled with local dollars and made permanent. For MCPS, you should be very skeptical about funding anything far above maintenance of effort, especially considering that the school system is facing a significant decline in student population, as well as imminent school consolidations and closures over the next few years, according to the superintendent. Regarding energy costs, if the state government can reduce the Empower Maryland surcharge, the county government should also do its part to reduce utility costs on residents. The council should lower the Montgomery County energy fuel tax and provide a rebate to residents. One way that I think you should do this is by lowering the appropriation for the Montgomery County Green Bank from 10% to 5%. They can still meet their core commitments with a lower appropriation. You should also look at the proposed non-profit inflation escalator and take a targeted approach rather than a broad-based approach. It should be application-based with a priority for those nonprofits that provide services in homeless services, homeless wraparound services, or food security. Not all nonprofits are created equal, and I think you need to really have some discretion there. So these are just some ideas that I'm offering to start the discussion with the urgency this moment requires. You really have a tough task ahead of you, but you can no longer move forward without making significant and unpopular cuts this year. Thank you very much for your time and for your service to Montgomery County.
Thank you. Next, Taylor Turner.
My name is Taylor Turner. In 2015, while giving birth to my daughter at a hospital in Montgomery County, I experienced what felt like an assembly line inside the medical system. I was rushed through childbirth that ended with a C-section performed against my will by a doctor who scheduled himself to deliver babies on Wednesdays, from what was told to me. I was unknowingly induced in my doctor's office and later given Pitocin at the hospital, which intensified my contractions. Soon after, I was told there was a medical emergency and a C-section was performed. After surgery, I was told that because I'm a Black woman, I had a curved pelvic bone and I would always require a C-section. I later learned that this statement was not medically accurate. It was a justification for a procedure that was done and performed against my will. During the procedure, I was not fully medicated. I could feel the cutting and I could feel the pulling, and I cried out in pain and my pleas were ignored. I was told that if I did not stop crying, I would be put to sleep. Afterwards, I was taken to recovery. I was shaking and I was trying to process what had happened to me. One of the most important moments of my life now became one of the most traumatic. My testimony today is not only about what happened to me, but about the lack of transparency that every woman deserves. While C-sections can be life-saving when medically necessary, they are a major surgery and should never occur without fully understanding of knowledge and proper consent. What happened to me reflects a larger issue that many Black women face in the healthcare system, and that is not being given full autonomy over our own bodies. As a biracial woman, it has been made clear that we are simply being subjected simply because of our race. Women should not have to fear bringing life into the world, as childbirth is natural. Every woman deserves transparency from the very medical system meant to support them, and not have medical professionals intentionally bring about complications, leaving everlasting traumas. My question for all of you today is this: when Black or brown women, biracial women walk into hospitals to give birth, are we entering a system where outcomes are already decided for us, or is the issue that too many providers lack the education and understanding necessary to deliver equitable maternal care? How many more wolves dressed in sheep's clothing do we have to move through to change their conditions and their statistics? The data is deeply concerning, as Black women are 2.5 times more likely to undergo C-sections, and these gaps cannot be ignored. I wonder, though, do these gaps point to lacking care, biases, education, or simply all three? My ask is that you continue investing in maternal health, specifically in accountability and education. Healthcare providers should be required to demonstrate competency in maternal health equity, including awareness of the unique risks and needs of Black women. This should not be optional, it should actually be a standard of care. Every woman deserves to be heard, respected, and treated with the highest level of care, and not have their rights or their body violated for these doctor gains. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. I'm going to call the next panel. Thank you very much for coming today. I have here Michael Larkin, Brooke Rickett, Daniel Chen, Giovanni Escatolini, Kira McKelson, Karina Shad, and Allison Gillespie. So we're going to start with Mr. Michael. If you're ready, please turn on your mic and you may start.
Good evening, council members. My name is Michael Larkin, and I represent the Action Committee for Transit, also known as ACT. I'm a member of ACT's volunteer-led board. Thank you for your time tonight. The increasing cost of car ownership, from financing a car to insurance to gassing it up, continues to make it clear that frequent and reliable transit is an essential service and not charity. ACT calls on this county council to prioritize bus frequency and reliability in the budget because it offers more freedom of choice and access to opportunities for our fellow community members. The transit services budget shows 13 position consolidations that do not appear consistent with providing frequent transit. There are still routes running well in excess of 30 minutes, such as routes 100, 5, 8. Route 90 is in desperate need of weekend service. This county should have a basic minimum standard that no bus is going to be running in excess of 30 minutes. Moreover, we should start running express bus service on planned bus rapid transit routes. Residents should no longer be told to wait for frequent transit while we continue to struggle to afford an expensive capital project. As an alternative to expensive capital projects, we could bump up funding for the Bus Priority Program. It's funded out of mass transit revenue. It doesn't require bond funding. It delivered those permanent bus lanes on University Boulevard and the Germantown Transit Center. It could also pay for queue jumps and transit signal priority and safer bus stops. This is a relatively more affordable option to implement dedicated bus lanes, especially if we do it by repurposing travel lanes to provide better bus service now, especially in important corridors such as New Hampshire Avenue Plan BRT. Now, there's one more budget item I want to address tonight that has a great bearing on how this county is going to grow economically and socially: the Chevy Chase Library redevelopment project. The county executive's budget is proposing a renovation of the existing library instead of the mixed-use redevelopment that was originally approved by the county council in 2022 and has been approved ever since. ACT strongly supports redevelopment with housing at a new library. Redevelopment offers much-needed new homes just blocks from the Purple Line. And because it's built on county-owned land, we can provide deeper subsidy and affordability for these homes in the midst of a housing crisis. The Chevy Chase Library redevelopment with housing needs to be viewed as part of getting the land use around the Purple Line right. We need to provide more homes near transit. It will be proved that the leadership of this county will press ahead with opening up opportunity-rich neighborhoods to more people instead of maintaining an exclusionary status quo. Thank you for your time tonight. I refer you to ACT's longer written testimony we sent in this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Brooke Rickett.
Good evening. My name is Brooke Rickett, and I'm the mother of 4 students at Cold Spring Elementary School. They're currently in 5th grade, 4th grade, 2nd grade, and kindergarten, and I serve as the PTA president. Over the past several months, our community has had the opportunity to meet with many of you. Councilmember Jawando, thank you for your continued support and for raising concerns about the exclusion of safety factors in MCPS's CIP prioritization framework, as well as your advocacy to prevent a 3-year delay for Cold Spring. Councilmember Evans and Mink, we appreciate the time you and your staff spent with us and the guidance you provided. It's why we're here tonight. And Councilmembers Friedson and Glass, I look forward to the time that you're making to meet with us later this week, and we appreciate that. We would love the opportunity to connect with the remaining members of the council in the coming weeks, and we'll follow up with an invitation. When I spoke to you in February, I highlighted the serious safety challenges at Cold Spring as the only remaining open concept elementary school in the county with no classroom walls or doors. And tonight you will hear those same concerns directly from our students and staff. But I want to focus on the MCPS CIP prioritization framework and why delaying this project is not justified. Cold Spring is currently one of 3 schools tied for 3rd in the CIP prioritization rankings. Yet that framework fails to account for the safety realities of our building, specifically that we are the only open concept school and the safety and security challenges that come with it. MCPS staff recently confirmed this in committee when asked directly by Councilmember Jawando. Even if we set aside the very real safety concerns, though we should not, the data still make a clear case. Under MCPS's current framework, the only factor keeping Cold Spring from the top CIP prioritization ranking is utilization. We are already at 95% capacity, and enrollment has grown by more than 30 students over the past 2 years. With just 19 seats remaining, we are on track to exceed 100% utilization within the next 2 years. At that point, our score would rise to 6.33, making Cold Spring the highest ranked project in the county. And this is not a new issue. Cold Spring has been on and off the capital improvements program since at least 2014. For more than a decade, these safety concerns have been known, and yet they still have not been addressed. We cannot afford another delay. Our students have already waited long enough. Thank you for helping us.
Thank you. Daniel Chen? Can you turn on your mic to your right? There you go. Just turn it on. Push it.
Hello, my name is Daniel Chen, and I'm 9 years old. This year, I transferred to Cold Spring Elementary School from Potomac Elementary to participate in the Center for Enriched Studies program. Moving to Cold Spring Elementary was shocking. There were no walls, doors, and the building structure limited it to do basic tasks that my old school building could do normally. That is why it is not important to delay construction and give full funding to the budget and this project. Recently, I have been reflecting on the differences in my safety and learning environment. At Potomac Elementary, where the building includes modern safety features, lockdown drills were much easier to execute. All the staff had to do at Potomac was to close the class door and pull down the window shades. Instead, in Cold Spring, there are very few doors and walls. One teacher must be responsible for filing up to 35 students in line and lead them to one of the few fully enclosed classrooms. More modern facilities have multiple things Cold Spring doesn't have, like fully enclosed classrooms, doors, walls, and secure spaces. What happened to your commitment to safety? Potomac Elementary boasts fully enclosed spaces. In the case of a real lockdown, a fully enclosed classroom means less work for teachers and more control over students. Not having walls is not easy, not just for safety, but also for focus and learning. It's hard to focus on reading a new book or solving a math problem when you can hear everything from 4 different classrooms and hallways. Our concern is not just for students now, but for the future students that choose to enroll. If our building is not replaced, future students will have to face the same issues that I have to deal with today. If you want the students to have good places to learn, Cold Spring needs to be replaced starting in 2028. Imagine over 350 kids in the next few years having to learn this open concept building. They deserve the same types of learning spaces that are afforded to every other elementary student within MCPS. We want to prepare students for the future, but with an old building, it's hard. A new building will mean safer and quieter learning spaces and probably even more room to welcome new students and staff into our school community. I don't want our younger siblings to face the same experiences that I have to face today. Our building is a school designed for 1972, not 2026. 50 years of a gap, and yet we still haven't replaced it. We want a building that matches the excellence of our staff, students, and teachers. We urge you to fund this project and to follow the superintendent's initial recommendation for the capital improvement plan. We hope that you replace the only open floor plan elementary school in the county with a new building. Thank you for your time and for listening to us.
Thank you so much. Giovanni, please don't clap. Please don't. Thank you. Giovanni Scott. That's you? Thank you. Can you turn on your mic, please? Do it again. There you go. Thank you.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Giovanni Scaralini, and I'm 10 years old, and I'm in 4th grade Center for Enriched Studies at Cold Spring Elementary School. Cold Spring was the first school I started attending in MCPS, and I have been here since 1st grade. My school community is nice and always looking for someone to help. My twin sister and I are in different fourth grade classes, but no matter where we are, we know that our teachers and other school staff work hard to make sure we feel supported. My parents are glad that they put me and my siblings at Cold Spring. Even though my parents are glad we are here, Cold Spring's outdated open floor plan building makes it hard for even the best students to learn and the best teachers to teach. We want to ensure that Cold Spring Elementary stays prioritized on the capital improvement plan and is fully funded to make sure that future students have a safer and more focused learning space. I want my younger siblings to have a better learning environment and not to adapt as much to noisy and unsafe learning spaces as I had to. I don't want my younger siblings to experience what I had on the day of the tragic Woodland High School shooting. I had to be in the lockdown in the yard room for over half an hour. We weren't able to do anything for 30 minutes except be quiet because the hiding spots are so bad. Me and about 75 other kids were squeezed into tight corners between shelves and even next to dangerous equipment. I was sat in front of a door that leads outside, but the path was totally blocked by all the kids. Delaying this project would mean a whole new generation of students face the same harsh realities of this building. In my Center for Enriched Studies ELA class, it's extremely difficult to focus. While my teacher reads the text, people in the math class are learning how to solve math problems. And at the same time, 5th graders are yelling. And during transition time, the other 4th grader classes are chatting with their friends while the teacher has to go outside and hush them. When the little kids are going to specials or the other blocks are coming to math, it is so loud because they're right where the wall of the door should be. I've always been an equal person, but being the only elementary school in the county that still has an open floor plan building isn't very equal to me. All the Cold Spring staff and students work really hard to make sure that they deserve walls for their amazing school. My school should not be delayed and should be fully funded to begin as scheduled. We should not be delayed or removed from the Capital Improvement Plan building because this school deserves so much for what they have done for all of their students. The staff and PTA have also done so much for the school to this point. Our staff and parents have done a lot of advocating, and now I am here as a student telling you what we need. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next, Kira Michelson.
Good evening. My name is Kira Michelson-Gessner. I'm a 4th grade Center for Enriched Studies teacher at Cold Spring Elementary School. Cold Spring is where I began my career with MCPS. I love our school, our students, and our community. But loving something also means being honest when it no longer meets the needs of the people inside it. While I'm constantly amazed by our students' resilience and ability to adapt, I also know they should not have to fight for access to a safe, modern, and quiet learning space. At Cold Spring Elementary, we work and learn in an open floor plan building, the last of this type of building in the county. We are grateful that many members of the board and county council have visited recently to see firsthand how hard our staff and community work to make this building function. But we are functioning in a space built for a 1970s world in 2026. Imagine, you are a 4th grade teacher conferencing with a student about their writing goals when the class next to you, no more than 10 feet away, begins skip counting quarterly to practice their multiplication facts. At the same time, a nearby 5th grade class rehearses a lively Shakespeare scene, and the ELD teacher between you and the math class plays a short instructional video. With no walls and very high ceilings, all of that sound reaches everyone. This is our daily experience at Cold Spring. These structural limitations erode our ability to provide small group instruction, confidential conversations, and focused learning. They also intersect with broader concerns: air quality, limited electrical access, and instructional areas that are not fully accessible to individuals with mobility needs. The limitations become more serious during emergency procedures like the lockdown we executed following the tragic shooting at Wooten High School in February. As Giovanni shared earlier, our students and staff were recently reminded just how difficult it is to access safe and secure spaces within our building. In most areas of our school, students cannot simply walk down where they are. My class must file into the art room behind as many as 60 other students and staff for a total of up to 90 people in the secure location. When timed, it takes about 1 minute and 15 seconds to reach a space that can be secured. For that entire 75 seconds, my students and I are visible and exposed through the open classrooms and hallways. In another area, as many as 40 5th graders and staff cross a hallway to shelter in a closet. One kindergarten class locks down inside the front office, not the safest place if the threat is walking through the front door. My colleagues execute these procedures with calm professionalism, but no amount of training changes the fact that our building was designed in a different era under very different safety assumptions. Our students deserve what their peers already have: enclosed classrooms, secure spaces, and infrastructure that supports learning rather than challenges it. The County Council plays a critical role in ensuring that projects like Cold Springs replacement are not only approved, but fully funded and kept on schedule. Continuing with the timeline originally proposed by Dr. Taylor for the CIP to begin facility replacement in FY28 would reduce the number of years children spend navigating structural limitations that adults have already acknowledged need to change. Tonight, you heard directly from students who live this reality every day. As their teacher, I see the same challenges from the other side of the classroom. I am proud of our school, and I am grateful for the recommendation to replace it. Tonight, I respectfully ask that you ensure this project remains fully funded and prioritized. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Karina Shad.
Good evening. I'm Karina Chod, and I am a 6th grader at Holton Arms School. I'm here today to ask that $624,864 be restored to the library budget to allow for all libraries in the county to be open 7 days a week. As you all know, most of the libraries in Montgomery County are now closed on Sundays. One of those libraries, the Potomac Library, is my home library, which I go to almost every day. I've been working with the Potomac Library because I've found this problem frustrating. We have learned that the decision to close the libraries was made without any knowledge of the LACs in the communities until they were closed. Taking away the library from the community on Sundays is horrible and is in conflict with both the library mission statement and the county's operating budget goals. When I first saw the sign on the library doors announcing the closures, I immediately asked why. I asked this because no one had told us anything before, and now there's a sign that says the library is closed on Sunday. As soon as I got home, my mom and I searched up why the closures were happening. I started emailing all of you with my concerns. Thank you for your responses. I have also had very productive meetings and conversations with Director Graham and Assistant Director Fromm. I even have gone to a library board meeting to speak and deliver petitions with signatures collected from students at my school and patrons of the Potomac Library. The Potomac Library LAC and I, in just a few short hours, collected over 200 signatures in support of restoring Sunday hours. I also presented on the closures to the whole lower school at Holton and collected signatures from students there. Many students were also upset about the closures and they wanted to be here tonight to show support, but it's pretty late and many had activities. Thank you to my friend Michaela for coming. I learned at the library board meeting and through discussions with Director Graham that the closures may be a result of a budget issue. This is why I'm here today. I don't know much about budgets as an 11-year-old girl, but I know that everyone needs a space that they can read, study, and collaborate with others in. Libraries are not just for reading a page. I ask you to please work to open the libraries all week for every age. Thank you so much for your time and consideration this evening. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week.
Thank you. Alison Gillespie.
Good evening, members of the County Council. I'm absolutely humbled and inspired by the kids that just spoke before me, and I really want to thank each of you for what you said. But I'm here, as you probably can guess, to ask that the County Council fully fund the Parks Department FY27 budget request. I've come here so many times to ask about parks. I feel a little bit like a broken record, but I'll repeat what I've said so many times over and over again. That I've served as a PTA president, I've served as a neighborhood association president, I currently serve on the Montgomery Parks Foundation Board, and I also currently serve on a transportation group known as Bike Maryland. While I'm here to speak on my own behalf, all of those experiences, every one of them, including PTA president and neighborhood association president, have taught me the value of parks and have enriched my viewpoint on this. I want you to hear a couple of stories. I mean, first of all, I live in a very urban part of Silver Spring, right off Georgia Avenue. And one of the most beautiful things that happens in the park near me is that it becomes everyone's backyard and living room. And the incredible diversity of people from both sides of Georgia Avenue that play together was always one of the rewards for me as a parent. We met so many great friends randomly in the park, but I also saw people who lived in the apartments nearby use it one time as a place to practice their marriage ceremony that was happening the next day. I've seen birthday parties. I've seen a million different family celebrations. If you walk through Wheaton Regional on any given Sunday, you see everybody is out, church groups, family groups. It is an amazing experience. We also are blessed with some of the most beautiful trail systems in the nation, literally. But the benefits of all of those things are both mental and physical. They're also environmental and economic. And you all know that all of those things happen for everyone in our county. They're free and open to everybody of every age here. The Parks Department request is rather modest. I'm looking to see what time it is with my reading glasses up, sorry. The Parks request was a 6.3 increase from FY26, and the county executive has only granted in his budget a 4% increase. That's a measly 3.2 shortfall, which I say measly regarding what the rest of the budget is, but it could have a huge impact on the amount of staff that's needed to take care of all those things, both rural and urban. We need to protect the investment we have so that everyone can continue to benefit from it. Parks does not have the ability to continue hiring positions it needs in order to provide core services. Please fully fund the Parks budget.
Thank you very much, and thank you guys especially for coming tonight. Next, I'm going to call on the next panel. We have Jason Noringer, Beatriz Martinez, Devin Dees, Alexander Cantor, Kevin Lopez, Kimberly Fogg, Jonathan Krasner. Please state your name right on top. We're going to start with Jason, who is right there, sir. As soon as you sit down, please turn on that mic and go ahead. There you go.
Jason Neringer from Rockville. $29 million for economic growth initiatives. You want to grow the economy? Stop raising taxes. Stop creating red tape. $96 million for alcohol and beverage services. Why are we still in the alcohol business? $3.7 billion for MCPS, to include a wasted $168 million on electric buses that aren't even used. $74 million for Vision Zero. We've already spent $430 million, and traffic deaths have only increased. What do we need another $74 million that the other $430 couldn't fix? $55 million for new bike paths. Have you driven down Old Georgetown lately, or downtown Rockville? I haven't seen a single bicyclist use it. In fact, half the time I still see them using the main lanes. Why are we wasting money on something that isn't used? $300,000 to tell people to stop using plastic bags. You already banned them. Do we need $300,000 to remind them of your stupidity? I'm here doing that for free. And my personal favorite, $250,000 for a 10-foot pedestrian bridge. That's right. This costs $250,000. This is what 2 classroom teachers cost you. Okay, I see people here representing housing. How many people could this bridge have housed? Supplies at Home Depot, $1,500. And 2 day laborers, the same price, could have done it in 2 days. Just these costs alone are $422 million. This could have built 3 new schools, hired 2,800 classroom teachers, hired 3,000 police officers with just this amount alone. And it's tip of the iceberg. You talk about affordability in your executive launch, Andrew. You gripe about affordable housing in front of the camera, Will and Mink. You pontificate about who can afford to live in Moco in your LinkedIn page, Marilyn. These are not affordable. They're not even useful. My property tax bill has increased 100% in the last 12 years. You got that? 100%. You banned everything. You raised taxes year after year. You increased fees. You wasted on bloated, useless spending that benefits no one. And you have the nerve to come here and play Oliver Twist begging, please, sir, I want some more? Are you kidding me? Well, we're done with this, and we're done with you. Vote for this budget. Get voted out.
Thank you, sir. Beatriz Martinez.
Good evening, President and County Council. My name is Beatriz Martinez, and before I get into why I'm here, I would like to share a story with you all. Let's go back to September 1995. There's a little girl starting kindergarten at an MCPS school, a little girl who unknowingly will experience firsthand what anxiety is. It began with separation anxiety. Being away from her mother was something that caused physical symptoms, feeling extremely nauseous with a deep ache in her belly that she did not comprehend. During school lunch, the lunchroom was always too loud. All the children speaking, yelling, or chewing loudly overwhelmed and clouded her mind, and she had no appetite. The little girl was not eating at school at all, and one day she was forced to eat by a cafeteria monitor, which caused her to vomit on the monitor. She was yelled at for it, and the solution that was offered was that the little girl go eat alone in the nurse's office, which helped. But was that a solution? Fast forward to 2022. There's a little boy. Same age, same school, going through the same feelings. Panic attacks, gagging, stomach aches, nausea, and nonstop suffering of nerves. That little boy is my son. And the little girl struggling with the same anxieties was me. Now, these stories are unfortunately very similar. My son now going through the same experiences that I had. But this time there is a difference. And that difference is called Linkages to Learning, a program included in 33 MCPS public schools, who provide health, behavioral, and social services to children and families, mine being one of them. For over 30 years, Linkages to Learning has partnered with DHHS to provide these services. Linkages to Learning connected my son with a therapist who has given him the tools to better not only his, but also my family's mental health. In a client survey from 2025, they had a 95% satisfaction rate. I am here in support of them. I am here for every little child who has gone through the terrible experiences of anxiety and mental health challenges. I ask the County Council to remember my story and my child when reviewing the fiscal budget for 2027, so this program may be implemented into other schools. As a mother and a 36-year Montgomery County resident, I think anyone in this room would agree that we want what is best for children in this county, and that begins with early intervention and continued support for mental health services in the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Devin Dees?
Hello. I'm here to tell you why Montgomery College is the best college in the world. And that might sound crazy, but let me explain. When I was in high school, I wasn't sure what my next step would be. As a first-generation college student, I was trying to move forward while juggling a lot outside of school. My environmental science teacher, Ms. Haas, encouraged me to pursue Montgomery College biotech program and said that they would support me. That advice ended up changing my life. At MC, I didn't just get an education. I received hands-on, current training that reflects industry practices. My professors shared not only their professional experience in biotech, but also the skills and knowledge they've gained through real-world experiences. In MC Biotech, we weren't just learning concepts, we were learning how to apply them in the real world. The biotech program also connects students to real opportunities. As the third largest biotech hub in the country, Maryland is home to many biotech companies, and being at MC gave me access to that network. Through things like field trips and exposure to these professional spaces, it made the path into the workforce feel possible, not distant. But what made the biggest difference for me wasn't just in the classroom, it was how the college showed up for me as a person. I was balancing school with work and caregiving for my mother while she was battling esophageal cancer, all while attending classes full-time. At the same time, I was facing housing instability, trying to stay on track with courses while figuring out how to support myself and my family. In those moments, MC didn't just see me as a student, they saw me as a person. Professors and faculty went out of their way to support me, whether that meant helping me find resources, checking on me, or simply showing care when it was needed most. When my mother passed away, Dr. Chrisman took the time to make me homemade bread, a gesture that showed how MC cares for his students beyond the classroom. Because of that support, I wasn't just able to do well in my classes, I was able to excel in life. I went from uncertainty to stability with resources and support MC provided me. Today, I work as a carbon-14 graphitization lab technician at a biotech company. I prepare biological samples, convert them into graphite, and use accelerator mass spectrometry to generate precise data. This data helps clinical researchers understand how drug compounds behave in the body before regulatory submissions. I was able to reach this role, which typically requires a bachelor's degree and prior experience, because of MC. The skills, prep, and support I received at Montgomery College left interviewers impressed with my knowledge and helped me and others find roles in the industry. That's why funding schools like MC matter. Keeping tuition low and continuing to invest in programs like this doesn't just support education, it supports people. Resources like Montgomery College Foundation allowed me to find stable housing so I could continue my education. This college creates real pathways for students to enter the workforce, build careers, and change their circumstances. Choosing MC gave me the foundation to build my future in a way I don't think I could have received anywhere else. So when I say it's the best college in the world, it isn't just a statement. It's a reflection of the resources they provide, actions they take, care they give to every student. Keeping tuition low allows MC to continue what it does best, transform lives, enrich the community, and change the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex Cantor. Alex, can you please turn on your mic, please? El otro lado. Ahí, there you go.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Alex Cantor. I live in Kensington. I oppose this budget. It adds further pain to Montgomery County's business environment and does not reflect a democratic public engagement process. Let me start with facts. First, on lost income. The Office of Legislative Oversight report of October 2024, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Trends in Outmigration from Montgomery County, discusses Montgomery County versus regional benchmarks on real adjusted gross income, AGI, as a percentage of economic output by county. That way we can compare counties. So this is gross income, total income from all sources, minus expenses paid for government, things that government does not tax. It is real because it is inflation adjusted. The report looks at things of money coming in and money coming out. I want to call attention to page 80 under summary of findings. Quote, however, when adjusting for its total economic output 2017-2022, Montgomery County had the lowest level of real AGI inflows, followed by PG County. On average, 2.5% of Montgomery County's total GDP moved in per year. In contrast, Loudoun and Frederick and Howard did much better than Montgomery County. Page 89. Speaking to 2012 to 2022, quote, Montgomery County led in real AGI outflows relative to economic output. It had the highest average annual outflow of real AGI relative to its economy. Again, Loudoun and Frederick counties did the best. They made money. So let's just take stock at this right now. That's the lowest level of inflation-removed income inflows as a share of the economy, 5 years to 2022, and the largest share of income outflows as a share of the economy 10 years to 2022. And this is all before DOGE, which has wrecked Montgomery County. Second pain point is Maryland's tax competitiveness. Tax Foundation's 2026 State Tax Competitiveness Index. Maryland ranks 46th, one spot worse than in 2025. And that's all taxes, local, state. So we need to attract income and money and keep it, not repel it, so we can afford things. Second point on democratic engagement, and I've conveyed these points to the Board of Education at large member well before and during the December budget discussions. I made these points very clear that I'm giving you. She never responded to anything. I tried signing up for the BOE budget meeting right away, and I still couldn't make it. They're putting a 5% increase, well above inflation. We need private sector to be able to afford things we need. So I just wish you please take a cutting mindset before taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next I have Kevin Lopez. Is Kevin Lopez here? Okay, we're gonna move on to Kimberly Fogg.
Good evening and thank you so much. My name is Kimberly Fogg and I'm the founder and chief mindfulness officer of Global Sustainable Partnerships and the creator of Vibe Checkup, The Power of Checking In, which is an award-winning, culturally responsive youth mental wellness platform designed to strengthen the entire support system around our young people. Well, we help build essential life skills such as self-awareness, strong communication, and healthy coping skills. We also connect our students with our parents, our trusted adults, and our school staff in a coordinated three-way ecosystem. Vibe Checkup is in Montgomery County Rec Zone after-school programs, and we're all about mental wellness as a daily conversation with our kids. And I want to speak to you today, not just as a founder, but as someone who has spent time really listening to our youth. I've sat in rooms with them. I've heard what they've been caring about, the pressure, the anxiety, the silence. And what struck me the most is this. It's not that they don't want help. It's that they don't always know who they really can trust and understand them. And that silence, that's where too many of our kids still feel so much alone. That's why I created Vibe Checkup. We give our kids space. We see them, we give them space for themselves and for each other. Through our podcast, I've watched these kids that never had a voice now have a voice. I've just seen them now being able to open up and saying, this is what I'm feeling. And in that moment, everything changes for our kids. But here's what I've also learned. Even the strongest programs can't do this work alone, especially organizations like mine that don't always fit into traditional funding systems, even when the impact is undeniable. That's where the Black Physicians in Healthcare Network comes in. They are our community partners, and they provide funding for us. BPHN is just not a support network. They saw us, they believed in us when others weren't even looking. And in a time where words like DEI are being questioned, challenged, even dismissed, BPHN stands for something deeper, not a buzzword, but excellence. Excellence in representation, excellence in cultural understanding, excellence in showing up for communities that too often have been overlooked. Because of BPHN, our kids know that they have direct access to Black physicians and trusted adults who reflect their lived experiences, their culture, their truth. And in that moment, something shifts, because guess what? Our kids carry this trust back home. They become the managers, the bridgers, the spark. They talk to their parents, their grandparents, and because it's not coming from a system, it's coming from someone they love. And they can say, I found something that can really help us. This kind of influence, it's powerful, it's generational, and it's immeasurable. With your continued, together we want to support helping us build a community where youth truly feel seen and heard. And with your continued investment in BPHN, we could sustain and expand a brave, safe space for our young people. I just want to have...
So sorry, you can send the rest via email, okay? We need to move on.
Okay.
But thank you for your testimony. Nick? Oh, no, can you send it to us? I'm sorry. Jonathan Krasner.
Hello, my name's Jonathan Krasner. I've been a resident of Rockville for 31 years. This is my first time at a county council hearing. And I also want to say I appreciate how tough your job is. I know it's not easy to be up there. I'm here today to talk about the proposed tax increases. And personally, I'm opposed to them. But I'm just one person, right? You really need to hear from a lot of your constituents. And I go on a website called Reddit. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it, but there's a section of Reddit that's dedicated to Montgomery County. And the users of Reddit are skew very liberal, progressive. They tend to be in favor of taxes and good government. This very issue of the proposed tax increases was discussed March 13th on Reddit. You can look it up. I'm just going to let you know in advance that all the comments skewed decidedly against the tax increases. These are your constituents. I'm going to read some of the comments. I'm not going to have nearly enough time to read them all, but I just read some of them, and I won't read any expletives, I'll tell you that. Here are the comments. This is incredibly tone deaf given the current economic environment and the fact that a large number of county residents are out of work thanks to the layoffs. I consider myself a liberal, but man, MoCo makes it hard sometimes. Do we not have anyone with integrity who is willing to do the hard work of looking at the budget and reining in spending? We can't just keep raising taxes and borrowing more money. We have to get our house in order and bring our spending under control. Meanwhile, the middle class gets killed by 1 million tax cuts, car registration, another $400, please, another 1,000 tax dollars for your home every year, another tax on your EV, another increase for Montgomery for income taxes. Property taxes go up automatically with inflation. The county could make a lot of revenue from new housing, too, if they bothered to allow any. I don't understand how federal layoffs justify increased property taxes. How are those people supposed to pay for them? This is really getting tiresome. Return all those electric buses they bought. MCPS enrollment is declining. Why is the budget growing? It seems to be the Democrats' solution to everything. Increase property taxes, increase income taxes, increase, increase, increase. The only ones not feeling the increase are the obscenely wealthy and the ones receiving government assistance. Stricter budgeting is what's needed, not increasing the budget, reaching further into residents' pockets. This is a lazy approach. Figure out why the current funding is not stretching far enough, but that requires disciplined work. And then there's all the money from court settlements and payouts to the fired superintendent. Zero accountability. He's running out of ideas, referring to the county executive and blank blank Eldridge. So not only a lot of comments opposed to the taxes, but very strongly against the taxes.
Thank you for your testimony. I'm going to ask the next panel to please come forward. I have Rob Goldman, Julio Cesar Lopez, Stephanie Bullock, Thomas Gibson, Joe Chifrin, John Ross, Nate Fingberg. Mr. Goldman, can you please kick us off?
Good evening. My name is Robert Goldman. I'm testifying today on behalf of MHP, the largest nonprofit affordable housing provider based here in Montgomery County. Over the last 8 years, Montgomery County has made significant progress on housing affordability by investing additional county resources towards the preservation and production of affordable housing. Generally speaking, funding has increased to remain steady with each passing year in order to make progress on the lack of affordable housing. However, the 2027 budget is the first time in many years where the county executive's budget recommendation recommends significantly less than the prior year. The proposed county budget includes approximately $100 million for the preservation and production of affordable housing. This represents a decrease of $20 million from funding levels of the last 2 years, where there was more than $120 million available. There are at least 10 affordable housing projects that are expected to close in the next 12 months, which the county has committed itself to financing. The county would need $169 million to ensure that all of these projects move forward to closing and begin construction. $69 million more than is budgeted for the year. These are real projects, real housing. These homes are ready to be built. These homes will not be built if there's not sufficient funding in the budget. MHP's Amherst Square apartment project in Wheaton, which will provide 272 new affordable homes in Wheaton, and which also includes the future Wheaton Arts and Cultural Center, is one of those projects in line for county funding and which is now at risk. Absent council action, there's a strong likelihood that multiple projects will be stuck in limbo. At a time when county households are facing unprecedented economic pressures, now is not the time to cut back on the county's commitment to affordable housing. I urge you to seek funding solutions, including whether the council could issue additional revenue bonds to ensure the worst-case scenario does not happen. I started my day today celebrating with all of you the county's commitment to fair housing and affordable housing. And as I end my day, I urge you to show your continued support for affordable housing in the FY27 county budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Julio Cesar Lopez.
Hello, good evening, Council President Fanny Gonzalez and members of the Montgomery County Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Julio Lopez, and I am a Rockville resident and a nursing student at Montgomery College, Tacoma Silver Spring campus. I'm here to thank you for your support of Montgomery College and to ask that you fully fund MC's operating budget. With your support, MC can continue to offer affordable tuition, which is critically important for students like me. I came to Montgomery College after moving during pandemic in Maryland in 2020. I had just graduated from high school in California, and I did not qualify for federal financial aid. I could not afford to attend college without a scholarship or affordable tuition, and then I found Montgomery College. I chose MC because it was one of the few places that offered and made higher education accessible, realistic, and affordable. And because of MC's affordable tuition, I was able to pursue my nursing degree. Affordability is not just helpful, it is essential. Without it, students like me simply would have the opportunity to pursue a career in healthcare. As the president of Montgomery College Nursing Club, I know firsthand from conversations with my fellow students that affordability is critical. Most of my peers work while attending college, including me, and many more are also parents, which is I'm always very proud of them. And our lives are complicated. Affordable tuition makes it possible for students to get the degrees, and they need to start their careers. Today, I'm on my way to earning my associate degree in nursing and plan to transfer on University of Maryland Global Campus. My end goal is to become a certified registered nurse anesthetist and give back to this community by serving the patients here in Montgomery County. And Montgomery College has provided me with more than an education through its faculty. Most of our professors are also Montgomery College graduates, and they are very supportive, and we have the best resources and clinical preparations, which gives us confidence once we step in the hospital. And having this support, it gave us the foundation to have a successful and confidence in pursuing our long-term goals in healthcare. I respectfully ask for your continued support of Montgomery College. The place has given me direction and to put me in the path to my career in healthcare. Please fully fund Montgomery College operating budget, and with your support, MC will continue to have affordable tuition, which is so important for students to reach their dreams. And thank you for your time, your support, and your commitment to this community and Montgomery College, because MC will continue to transform lives and make a change, since we are having a decline on healthcare population workers, and this is a step forward to increase that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we have Stephanie Bullock. Can you please turn on your mic? There you go. Oh, do it again. There you go.
My name is Stephanie Bullock, and before I start, I'm going to ask humbly. Can you hear me now? Okay. I'm going to ask humbly that you give me the 3 minutes of undivided attention. It's been 25 years since I had a chance to present anything to you. My name is Stephanie Bullock, and I'm a longtime resident of Montgomery County. I'm also a member of Housing Justice Montgomery and the Food Justice Coalition. Due to my own experience in the county I call home, I urge the council to fund $80 million to housing stabilization services, $20 million to rapid rehousing, and $3.5 million towards the county food assistance grant within OFSR. More than 20 years ago, I was evicted by a fraudulent, corrupt landlord who still is around today, and who has since been found guilty of scamming vulnerable groups. I believe I am still targeted, which I was then, but I will not let that scare me from what I consider at this point to be a mission. When I was evicted the first time, I had access to an overabundance of food due to the care of my family and our community. After being evicted, I shared the abundance with all of my neighbors, especially the kind immigrant family across the street. What I couldn't use, I sent to others because I think it's a sin to waste, especially when you can open the door to your neighbors and share. The second time I was evicted, my kids, and I have 5 sons, many of them are listed in Montgomery County as having awards for many things, including IT, starting businesses. You can look them up. The second time I was evicted, my kids were grown and my lifestyle was very different. It was way more difficult this time because all of my immediate family who supported me had passed. My aunt, my mother, and my uncles. It's been like a long repeat eviction because I feel targeted, and the continuous harassment and lack of justice with my cases has stopped me from receiving timely services, including things like SNAP. I have been homeless after this eviction for 7 months. because of my evictions. I understand the importance of having stable housing and food. I do look forward to the positive outcome of our budget needs. I look forward to watching the progress, welcoming the change, the new land, the new farmers, and the new smiles.
Thank you for your time. You can send the rest. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thomas Gibson.
Yes, good evening. My name is Thomas Gibson. I'm a resident at the Neville Street Emergency Men's Shelter. I'm also a member of Housing Justice Montgomery and of the Neville Street Shelter Clients Association. I want to thank Montgomery County, SEF, the Montgomery County Coalition for the Homeless, and many people working every day to address homelessness under very difficult conditions. I'm here today to ask you to fully fund $27 million for permanent supportive housing and $20 million for rapid rehousing. I want to speak about this not just as a resident, but from a broader perspective. There are concerns being raised tonight about government spending, and I understand those concerns. But permanent supportive housing and rapid rehousing are not wasteful spending. They are investments. Right now, individuals experiencing homelessness are often seen as a cost in terms of emergency services, hospital visits, emergency shelters, and law enforcement. But when people are housed, they stop being a constant cost and they start becoming contributors. They stabilize, they reconnect with families, they return to work or find new work, and they participate in the local economy. And importantly, they use emergency rooms, hospitals, and crisis services far less frequently, which saves taxpayers money. We know this from well-established research. Studies from organizations like the RAND Corporation and the National Alliance to End Homelessness have shown that supportive housing can reduce emergency room visits, hospitalizations, and jail usage dramatically, in some cases by 40 to 70%. This isn't theory, it's been measured repeatedly across the country. That means fewer costly interventions and more stability, not just for individuals, but for the entire system. Housing transforms people from being in survival mode to being functional members of the community. And just as importantly, it reduces strain on the systems that taxpayers already fund. Because the reality is this, the county is going to spend this money either way. The question is whether we spend it now, strategically, on housing solutions that reduce long-term costs, or later, reactively, on emergency services, public safety, and crisis response after the problem has grown more severe and more expensive to manage. If we do not invest now, the costs do not go away. They multiply. So the question is not whether we can afford to invest in housing. The question is whether we can afford not to. Montgomery County has an opportunity to continue setting the standard, not just as a compassionate county, but as a smart and forward-thinking one. This is not a luxury. It is a necessary investment in stability, public safety, and the long-term strength of this community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mrs. Schifrin?
Good evening. My name is Joe Schifrin. I'm a Jew, and I live in County District 1. I'm giving this testimony on behalf of Housing Justice Montgomery. The Jewish value Dai Machzoro calls for ensuring that everyone has sufficient resources for their needs. The county's budget is a moral document, as you all know, and it should address those needs, including sufficient funding for housing, even in a difficult budget year. I believe we need to fully fund a variety of housing programs to support people whose housing is most at risk and those currently experiencing homelessness. I support HJM's entire fiscal year 27 county housing budget request. 1, no one should be forced out of their home because their rents are too high. We estimate there's a need for $80 million in emergency rental assistance to help everyone who requests this aid. We estimate that 6,300 households will need an average of $12,000 to remain housed. Rapid rehousing offers short-term rental assistance and light case management, making homelessness brief and non-recurring. We believe there's a need for $20 million to support 1,150 people who will need this program to exit homelessness this coming year. Permanent supportive housing is a tool that has proven to end homelessness for vulnerable, unhoused neighbors with chronic health conditions and disabilities. I support $27 million for long-term rental assistance with wraparound supportive services such as case management, health care, and mental health treatment. to ensure that community members with chronic health conditions and disabilities can permanently exit homelessness. We are advocating $182 million for the Housing Initiative Fund. These funds will go toward financing the new construction and the acquisition and rehabilitation of existing housing to produce or preserve more affordable housing that we desperately need in this county. We're suggesting the creation of a new budget line, $3.3 million, for emergency moving assistance and storage. This money would be used to assist families who are forcibly removed from housing via a sheriff's eviction to secure movers and have up to 6 months of storage for their belongings. SHARP, which is Short-Term Housing and Resolution Program, provides a rapid exit from homelessness. It pays the security deposit, first month's rent, a 12-month rental subsidy, and light case management. It was budgeted to spend just under $7 million this year, and we're requesting $9.5 million to increase the number of families supported and include funding for individuals in this program. We look to the council to pass a budget that reflects the values of safety, security, and accessibility.
Thank you. Next, John Ross.
Good evening, Council President, members of the council, friends. My name is John F. Ross, and I'm the founder and executive director of Nourishing Bethesda. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about the continued and growing importance of supporting food pantries across Montgomery County. Let me begin today with a stark reality. You probably know the statistic, but today approximately 35% of Montgomery County residents are experiencing food insecurity. That's a dramatic increase in the past few years. That is more than 1 in 3 of our neighbors. And the need is not stabilizing, it is growing. We are seeing the continued fallout from federal workforce layoffs and disruptions. When federal workers lose jobs or income, the impact ripples outward, affecting contractors, service workers, child care providers, and small businesses. And in 2 or 3 months, we will start to see steep increases in food costs due to the war with Iran, catalyzed by high fuel costs and expensive fertilizer. You see, food is deeply influenced by so many factors difficult to anticipate. A year ago, the avian flu pushed egg costs to $9 a dozen. Cuts and even threatened costs to critical entitlement programs start a cascading effect. And then there's ICE. Families are making impossible choices every day between food, rent, medicine, and childcare. And when things get bad, food is the first thing that families start skimping on, much to the detriment, of course, to their health and well-being, among other things. But the saddest statistic in Montgomery County, bar none, is that more than 27,000 children are food insecure. 27,000 food. And many of those kids belong to families and working households doing everything right, but still falling behind. We are also seeing a shift that should concern all of us. This is no longer just a crisis of the very poor. Nearly 1 in 5 households earning up to $120,000 annually are now experiencing food insecurity. In other words, the crisis is reaching deeper into the middle of our community than ever before. At Nourishing Bethesda, we see these realities every day. In 2025, we distributed 738,000 pounds of food, a 30% increase over the previous year. We provided nearly 12,000 meals each week. That growth is not by design, it is by necessity. We expanded food rescue by over 200%, increased food drives, and built new partnerships. But the truth is simple, we are running just to keep up, and we cannot do it alone. County support is not just helpful, it is foundational. Behind every statistic is a neighbor. And I just want to thank you for your continued support and thoughtfulness about food insecurity. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Nate Feinberg.
Good evening. My name is Nathan Feinberg. I'm a math teacher at John F. Kennedy High School, living in the Fairland neighborhood of Silver Spring with my wife and 3 children. They are the 4th generation of our family to live in Montgomery County, but many more have been forced out and displaced from their own communities by the ever-increasing cost of housing that has for decades far outpaced wages. Our own family was nearly forced out as well when DHCA threw us out on the streets with 24 hours notice to vacate our basement apartment because our landlord was breaking the law. Indeed, it was only through a small inheritance when my mother passed of cancer and through the grace of God that we were able to buy our home in Fairland. Even then, we continued paying over half of our take-home pay just to make the mortgage, costs which deprive our children of opportunity and greatly diminish the resources available to spend in our local economy. My friends who are not so fortunate now spend hours every day commuting into the county to pick up your trash, to clean your buildings, and to care for your children. Still, supporting the community from which they have been outcast. That is why we must now commit to profound investments in deeply affordable housing for the working families that make life in Montgomery County possible. No more families should be displaced. No more children should be driven from the communities that they call home. We are calling on this council to build a lasting legacy of fair housing by investing in a sustainable, long-term program of social housing. We cannot rely on market forces alone to deliver what we know working families need. We ask you to commit today to bringing our county into an era of affordability and ending our dangerous, destabilizing slide into a permanent rentier class. By using this budget to invest $182 million into the Housing Initiative Fund to build a deeply affordable social housing program that will grow and sustain itself for generations to come. I know that we are concerned with the costs that are continually rising and the budget constraints. But the more we delay making these long-term solutions, permanent solutions that allow the equity and wealth of these programs to grow over time, the more that those short-term costs will continue to rise, the more we will continue to bankrupt ourselves through short-sightedness. And at the same time, displacing the very workforce, the very community on whose backs this county has been built. So I thank you tonight for your time and for your consideration. And I urge you to begin fixing this housing crisis now today. Plant the seeds that will grow in the future and make this a bastion of affordability for our people. Thank you.
Thank you. I thank each one of you. Thank you for coming. I'm going to call on the next panel. Madeleine Roppy, Alec Harmon, Kevin Beverly, Roger Williams, Lamont Valentine, Jasmine Young, Amy Ackerberg Hastings. And we're going to start with Ms. Madeleine Roppy. Is that you? It is you? Oh, okay. Can you please turn on your mic? You can. Please kick us off.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Madeline Roppy, pronounced she, they, and I'm a Montgomery County resident of over 20 years. While I'm speaking as a private resident today, I also work as the program director of the MoCo Pride Center in Bethesda. I've lived in Montgomery County for almost my whole life, but my job has taught me a lot that I didn't know about the area. The Pride Center is open 7 days a week, and almost every day someone new comes to me with a need they have for compassionate healthcare, housing and food assistance, financial aid, immigration services, or many other things. This is the only resource in the county devoted to serving the needs of this community. People rely on spaces like the Pride Center for safety, community, and access to resources. In the last 6 months, I've seen an increased demand for basic resources like food and hygiene items and services overwhelmed elsewhere like housing and job placement as more transgender folks and immigrants relocate to Maryland seeking safety. I step in to connect people to what's out there, but that's not always enough. We are also called upon to fill the gaps in care ourselves. I wouldn't be able to serve our most vulnerable community members if it weren't for county funding. Last year, the county allocated the Pride Center $500,000 in base funding and then provided an additional $500,000 in supplemental funding. This has allowed the Pride Center to provide consistent services every single day, which include a safe and affirming drop-in space, community building and social events, free STI testing, and basic needs support. We are so grateful for the funding we've received, but relying on one-time allocations isn't sustainable. I am shocked and saddened by how many people come to us for help and how much work we still have to do. Today, I am asking the council to fully fund the Montgomery County Pride Family MoCo Pride Center, Inc. at a minimum of $1 million in the FY27 base budget. This funding will ensure that the people who rely on us are not left without support. This is my home, and I want to show up for my community the best that I can. I humbly ask that you do as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Alec Harmon.
Good evening, Council President Fanny Gonzalez and members of the Montgomery County Council. I am honored to speak before you tonight. My name is Alexander Hardman. I am a performing arts major at Montgomery County on the Rockville campus. I am here tonight to ask you to please fully fund Montgomery College's operating budget to help keep MC's tuition affordable for students, like me. I've lived in Silver Spring here in Montgomery County since 2018. I attended Northwood High School, where I checked off some bucket list items by taking part in a musical and a play. My plan was to join the military after high school graduation, but plans changed soon after I graduated. I was too late to register for any large university at that point, and I was left stuck with no direction, until I found Montgomery College. That summer, my father bought tickets to see a musical at Montgomery College, in the Heights. It was MC's summer dinner theater production, and I left the show so impressed, I started figuring out how to register to attend MC the next day. Once at Montgomery College, I found myself able to jump in and apply myself immediately that first semester. I auditioned for shows. I worked with the head carpenter on his show set and got hands-on experience with set design. I participated in a national college theater festival and helped compete for scholarships. MC's performing arts program is busy, and there are never too many cooks in the kitchen, which is perfect for someone like me who wants to be involved and learn. On top of that, the students and faculty are always sharing educational and professional opportunities to engage with, spurring further growth as I prepare for my career as an actor. The theater program is very open to any and all participation and level of interest. If you want to meddle with carpentry, you can try your hands in the scene shop first before taking it a step further to pursue a career as a set designer. If lighting or sound design interests you, go ahead. You can see what you can learn and pursue the career path. Plus, the Montgomery College Theater Alumni Network works across the DMV, stretching to New York and reaching Broadway, which allows MC graduates to easily jump into the professional world. I've been at MC for almost 2 years. I can confidently say I made the right choice. I would not be where I am now without the numerous benefits that make Montgomery College one of, if not the leading community college in the country. Most universities and acting programs require months of advanced preparation to even get a foot in the door, and that's if you can afford to go in the first place. Montgomery College's accessibility allowed me to jump right in. Most importantly, MC is affordable. I will be graduating with no debt. Without MC's affordable tuition, I would not be pursuing my degree or a career in the theater industry. And I know I am not alone. Students depend on MC's affordable tuition so they can get the education they need to succeed. MC is where I have learned so much about theater and experienced the many different theater career roles that work together to bring shows to the community. None of this would be possible without the needed funding to keep MC affordable for students. Please support MC's operating budget to keep tuition affordable. And please support the theater arts building renovation. We want to keep providing you guys with amazing, high-quality theater, but we are running on out-of-date equipment, so we are struggling to do so. We are grateful for your lasting support, and it would be an honor for you to keep supporting us. On behalf of Montgomery College's Rockville campus students, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kevin Coverly.
I think I'm just going to have Alex read my notes. Can I just do that? Well, again, thank you, President and council members. I want to start by just saying a recent Ready Nation study finds that the nation's child care crisis cost us $172 billion in lost earnings, productivity, and revenue every year. This enormous economic burden impacts parents, their employers, and our nation's taxpayers. As I reviewed the county's budget, there were many things that disturbed me, but I believe we are woefully underfunding our child care supports. National research tells us that learning starts in utero, and that 90% of brain development happens before a child turns 5. However, according to the Children's Opportunity Alliance, we are only investing 2% of our total budget to support children ages 0 to 5, and they make up 7% of our community. In Montgomery County, when we say we care about education, everyone thinks about K to 12, not 0 to 5, and we need to change that. This is not just an MC problem. It's a state problem, and it's a national crisis. When you look at the federal budget, we invest over $800 billion a year in public funding for K through 12 schools. which is approximately $14,000 per student. In Montgomery County in fiscal '24, we invested $3.1 billion in our public schools K through 12, which is a little over $19,000 a student. Nationally, our federal child care investment is approximately $40 billion a year in public funding for children ages 0 to 5, which is less than $1,000 per student. And most of that's spent on 4-year-olds. Even though we know learning begins before that. In Montgomery County, we invest $175 million in early care and education, and there are approximately 60,000 kids aged 0 to 4, which equates to about $3,000 a student. Yet, if we talk to a parent who's looking to pay for child care, it costs around $20,000 to $25,000 a year for one child. A budget is a fiscal document with moral implications. It demonstrates priorities. What we see in the numbers is that early care and education is not as important as K-12. And again, it needs to be. This year, the Children's Opportunity Alliance put forward a recommendation to the county executive to invest more in working parents assistance. Adding $16 million to working parents assistance will allow our county to serve approximately 1,000 more students. Instead, we see $500,000 in this budget, which will only allow us to serve about 30 students.
Thank you. You
Thank
can
you.
submit the rest. Appreciate you. Okay. All right. I just felt I had to say that. Roger Whelans. Oh, it's missing the I, but go ahead.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Well, I am a member of the Potomac Library LAC. I'm also a resident of Potomac, and I would like to request that the County Council restore the $624,000 plus the proposed library operating budget tied to our county libraries remaining open on Sundays. 11 of our 23 libraries have recently been closed on Sundays, much to the disappointment of and concern of our constituents. 5 are in District 1, 1 is in District 2, 2 are in District 3, and there are 4 in District 4. The fact that the closings were done without much involvement of the community or the LAC is a separate question. We would like to make sure that these libraries resume being open on Monday because our kids use it and benefit from it. It's the weekend and it's produced great students. I mean, my student is now up, my son is now up on the space station having used these libraries effectively on Sundays. So I would urge you to not just look at the dollars involved, but this impact it will have on the lives of our students. The libraries forge strong reciprocal relationships with residents and organizations and other departments of the city, of the county. The proposed school budget recognizes that research and internet resources are made available through the Montgomery County Public Library budget. Eliminating Sunday hours for half of our libraries is in conflict with both the library mission statement and the county's operating budget goals. The library's mission statement states that the libraries are an essential component of the just and equitable community where we can all thrive and grow. Increased participation of all categories in the 2025 Summer Reading Challenge program is something that's important to the libraries. Plan programs and robust marketing to celebrate Montgomery County Public Library's 75th anniversary would be contrary to cutting their budgets. Restoring the $624,000 to keep our libraries open on Sundays is the equivalent of only a 3% of the $198 million increase proposed for public schools. Our Potomac Public Library is important to me, and I hope important to you all. So thank you. I'm sorry about my whatever.
It was wrong. And you know what? Not everybody gets to say that they have a child who's an astronaut. So, proud papi right there. All right. Lamont Valentine.
Hey, how y'all doing today? My name is Lamonte Valentine. I am a small business owner and a resident of Silver Spring. Oh, sorry. I have big mouth, so I try not to clog the mic or whatnot. But I am here speaking on behalf of the Montgomery County Pride Center, mostly because it is in dire need of additional support from you guys. The Pride Center is a lot of things, as Dr. Ropey on the other side of the table has described, but one thing I like to point to is the fact that it was the first place I felt safe. And as a black gay man trying to run his own business, I cannot tell you how rare that is in this country. I'm not going to get into that, though, but the Pride Center has become a place of community outreach and planning. How many places have free STI, testing, food, assistance with people, helping folks who maybe don't feel that they would be helped at a food bank because of who they are. So it has been one of the greatest joys to work alongside them. But as Dr. Ropey pointed out, a one-time endowment, while we appreciate it, we absolutely, as a community member, thank y'all so much. But they need more. A one-time endowment is not going to keep their doors open. And now, in the way things are today, whether socially, especially economically, y'all heard from the housing folks, right? We need to invest as a county in these programs to help keep these doors open, these very necessary doors open. So I am asking y'all for just a $1 million, endowment for the FY27 period. Excuse me, it's been a long day. So that way you guys can send a message to all of Montgomery County that you're willing to take care of all of their residents every day of the year and not just in June when it's fashionable. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, Jasmine Young.
Good afternoon. My name is Jasmine Young, and I'm a proud resident of Montgomery County. While I'm speaking as a private resident today, I also work as the Director of Operations for the MoCo Pride Center. I am here today in strong support of the county's budget, with a critical amendment to fund the Montgomery County Pride Family MoCo Pride Center at a minimum of $1 million in the FY27 budget. I'm not speaking from theory. I'm speaking from what I've seen with my own eyes. Every day in our community, there are people searching for somewhere they feel safe, somewhere where they feel affirmed, somewhere where they don't have to explain who they are just to exist. The Pride Center is that place. It is where people come when they need help, real help, health referrals, support systems, guidance through some of the hardest moments of their lives. But it's also where people come simply to breathe, to be seen, to be accepted, to feel like they belong. And that sense of belonging, it's not luxury, it's life-changing. I have watched individuals walk into these spaces unsure of themselves, carrying isolation, carrying fear, and I have watched them leave with connection, with resources, and with a sense of stability they did not have before. This is the impact. This is what investment looks like in real life. This is not extra work, this is essential work. And the need is not slowing down, it is growing. More people are reaching out, more people are showing up. More people are depending on the consistency of these services to get through their day-to-day lives. The county took an important step, and we are thankful for that. The council added support, and we are thankful for that as well. And that investment has already been put into action in visible, meaningful ways. But right now, the proposed funding is only about a half what is actually needed to sustain this work. And what's at stake here is not expansion, it's stability. Without full funding, we risk losing consistency in services, we risk gaps in staffing, we risk limiting access for the very people who need the support the most. So I'm asking the council to fund the Montgomery County Pride Family at a minimum of $1 million in the FY27 base budget, because this work is already happening, because people are already depending on it, and because our community deserves the certainty that this support will not disappear. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and your consideration.
Thank you. Next, we have Amy Ackerberg Hastings.
Good evening, President Fanny Gonzalez, members of the County Council, and staff.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify about the county's operating budget allocations. My name is Amy Ackerberg Hastings. I am the parent of a Richard Montgomery Sr., and I serve MCCPTA as the Central Area Vice President for the Churchill, RM, Poolesville, Rockville, and Wooten clusters. With respect to MCPS's fiscal year 2027 operating budget request, I am hearing two areas of concern from these communities. First, many families are broadly supportive of the funding needs at all levels of MCPS, and perhaps especially of providing a 3.25% salary increase to teachers and school staff, which barely keeps pace with inflation. However, at the same time, these families are worried about significant property tax increases during a time of economic uncertainty. The central area communities are well aware of federal cuts that impact some of our most vulnerable students and of upcoming decreases in state aid, which all place larger burdens on local authorities. Nevertheless, we expect the council will look for wiggle room in the county executive's recommendation, and we encourage the exploration of alternative funding sources. Second, we need the council to hold MCPS accountable for how it spends the funds it is allocated. A forensic audit that goes beyond the annual checkbox exercise required by state and federal governments is long overdue. Please direct OLO and OIG to determine where every penny goes and whether those funds are in fact contributing to career and/or college readiness for every child. In my written testimony, I offer a non-exhaustive list of reasons that we should be concerned about MCPS's current priorities and values. You have heard about some of these in greater detail from other education and curriculum advocates, such as MCPS's return to its historic refusal to engage the public with transparency and its failure to plan in a fiscally responsible way for the 6-region secondary programs proposal. In fact, this poorly conceived model will perpetuate the inequities it purports to solve and waste money along the way. In addition, performance data shows worsening levels of basic student proficiency throughout the county, even as the achievement gap persists. Questions about the metrics for school consolidations and closures in the upcoming elementary boundary study are already being ignored. As caregivers and taxpayers, we deserve granular information about where the money is going in MCPS so that families, communities, schools, and county government can be true partners in stewardship. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, and thanks to each one of you for coming today. I'm going to call on the next panel. We have Tommy Lamont, Michelle Red, Quentin Strange, Mr. Kumar, Rashida Lee, Sergine Yango, and we're going to start with Tommy. Is that you? Is Tommy Lamont here? Is that you? Oh, okay, perfect.
Good evening, council members. My name is Tommy Lamont, and I'm a Montgomery County resident. I'm a retired high school teacher, a history teacher, and a coach, and I'm very much enjoying living in Montgomery County. I'm especially enjoying retirement and being able to participate in local democracy like this is very inspiring. Thank you for your service. In October, I moved here from, 2 years ago, I moved here from Massachusetts, mainly to be closer to my eldest son and my eldest grandchild. And I settled here in part because of the legal protections that the state of Maryland offers me as a trans woman. And since last September, when Montgomery County Pride Center opened, I've been volunteering there, and I have been thoroughly impressed by the center's staff and leadership. They make an intelligent, compassionate, and hardworking team that amaze me whenever I'm at the center. I can attest to the fact that the Pride Center has emerged as a hub for the county's LGBTQ community, which I've become deeply involved in. The centers have established programs, services, and resources that provide critical support for members of the county's queer community, including individuals who live on the margins due to the difficulty of finding decent paying work and safe, adequate housing. Every day, every week, and weekend, the Montgomery County Pride Center staff efficiently, reliably, and joyfully serve county residents, helping many of them develop the confidence, the skills, and the connections that allow them to thrive and contribute to our county. While the center brings joy and hope primarily to the county's queer community, it also brings joy to the larger community. That's because the center is not just for members of the county's LGBTQ community, but for every county resident who acknowledges that queer people are an asset rather than a problem. I'm grateful and proud that Montgomery County continues to support the concept of a publicly funded Pride Center. However, the supplemental funding for the center is insufficient to ensure that the center operates effectively and serves the county residents as intended. I strongly encourage and hope that the council will fully fund the Pride Center at least $1 million in the FY27 base budget. Such support and commitment by the council will keep Montgomery County a safe, welcoming, and joyful community for all residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Red, is that you?
Hi. Good evening, council members. My name is Pascal Lemaire. I'm the vice president of the Enclave Tenant Association, and I will be reading Michelle Red's testimony. Hello, council members. My name is Michelle. I'm here with Housing Justice Montgomery. I have a wheelchair disability, and I have not been able for years to find a roll-in shower in a totally wheelchair-accessible apartment that is affordable for me and my grade school granddaughter to live in. I am advocating for $80 million towards emergency rental assistance so no one will ever have to experience what I have. Being woken up by sheriffs, moving men, taking all of our life possessions out the door as we are trying to get dressed and gather as much as we could. Not to mention the harder issue of being in a wheelchair, seeing photos of your deceased daughter strewn out in the street as you roll out in your wheelchair and watch people go through and pick at your clothing, at all your possessions like scavengers. In addition, there is a severe lack of wheelchair accessible, affordable housing in Montgomery County. We need $180 million towards the Housing Initiative Fund. I'm a single senior citizen grandmother who has custody of my only granddaughter due to the death of my daughter. I desperately need a wheelchair-accessible 2-bedroom apartment with a roll-in shower near a good school system. Not being able to take a shower in years makes me feel like a third-class citizen. Can anyone here imagine not taking a shower for an entire 3 years, being relegated to a bird bath? That's really hard to imagine. This is what this woman has gone through. So she asked that, what she asks is for a home where she can roll around easily like all of us take for granted. And she says that I feel I am being drastically discriminated against. If this funding is successful, my self-esteem would improve and I would be able to give back to my community. I have personal experience and could help someone else. And again, as someone who works for with the Enclave Tenant Association, we mobilize almost monthly to go on the ground and help with evictions, along with all these people here, many of them. And it is absolutely heartbreaking to see children's toys, a giant teddy bear in the snow. So this is desperately needed in the county.
Thank you. Next, Quentin Strange.
Good evening, County Council, Member, President, everyone. I come to you as an Army veteran, as a former Montgomery County employee of 19 years. But I'm also, above anything else, a proud resident of Montgomery County since elementary school. And I'm speaking to you today with urgency and deep conviction to advocate for the continued and expanded funding of the Montgomery County Pride Family MoCo Pride Center, Inc. Since its inception, the impact of the Pride Center has been profoundly positive and deeply felt throughout our community. It has become more than a resource, it is a lifeline. The center fosters community building, provides affirming and safe spaces, and connects individuals to critical services, including health referrals, STI testing, support systems, and wellness navigation. Just as importantly, it creates opportunities for joy, connection, and belonging. Things that are often out of reach for many in our LGBTQIA plus community, especially in these trying times with this administration attacking every aspect of our community. This work matters to me personally because I have seen firsthand how access to affirming spaces and resources can change lives. When people feel seen, supported, and valued, they are empowered to thrive, not just survive. The demand for these services continues to grow. Our LGBTQIA+, BIPOC, and most marginalized and disenfranchised residents rely on the Pride Center as a trusted hub of care and connection. This is not optional work. It is essential to the health, stability, and well-being of our most vulnerable in the county. Therefore, I respectfully and clearly ask that you fund the Montgomery County Pride Family MoCo Pride Center, Inc. at a minimum of $1 million in the fiscal year 27 base budget. This investment is not just funding a program, it is sustaining a vital community cornerstone. Thank you for your time, your service, your thoughtful consideration. Once again, I'm Quentin Strange, a proud resident and supporter of the council as well as my family. Thank you.
Sir. J.D. Kumar.
Montgomery County, Maryland Government, Council, and Honorables Council President, Ms. Natalie Fanny Gonzalez, thank you for this opportunity. My name is J.D. Kumar, Democrat candidate for United States Congress, House of Representatives for this Maryland District 8. The saying, majority rules, minority rights, expresses a core principle in democratic governance that decisions should reflect the will of the majority, but that the rights and freedoms of minority groups must be protected to prevent oppression. Not fortunately, you all are not executive large tents type leaders. Perhaps one of your new members is the exception. Most of you are not the long history of humanity to 21st century leaders. I am. Such a shame based on this, our historic lunar planetary exploration week. Many of you are like high school popularity peoples doing what is popular, counting votes instead of protecting real vulnerable peoples. I originate from the former capital city, the seat of the British Empire, New Delhi, India. We immigrated to Queens, New York City. There are more than 200 languages spoken there. I have lived in this county more than 4 decades, half of that in Wheaton, Kent Mill area, one of the original very diverse communities here in Montgomery County, Maryland. All of this a part of my immense successes. I ask all of you to examine how you get to your points of access, opportunities, how you get to your successes. All the inputs, your personal efforts, your genius, your environment, your teachers, your ancestral lineage. Examine all of this for yourselves and others. Now this brings me to this budget hearing. My Congress proposal is for a $250 billion investment in economic activity over 5 years. That's $50 billion annually for this county, Montgomery County, Maryland. Firstly, we should work on a labor shortage jobs website, a local and national one, so migrants can come here credentialed. Tranquilo. We need established migrant merit communities, county residency status safety cards. Charge a nominal fee to issue them. Allow USA Americans to apply first, then the rest of the world. If we do this, nobody will ever use the term illegals undocumented. Everything tranquilo, así, like this. The next proposal, huge property and other tax savings for county residents. This is not radical at all, but we must rethink our primary and secondary schooling. There is so much online access and information resources that it no longer makes viable to have a K-12 format. I propose a K-10 format, sophomore year format. Many students work part-time during the school year, reducing their study time and dedication. This is not smart. Let's focus on school 100% while in school and focus on work later. Eliminate junior and senior year and work full-time, but remain affiliated with your school to do sports and arts activities prom, etc. And also do this, not just a select few. Remain affiliated with your school. Save money to go to college or trades. Faculty can be trained on teaching college courses. We can use school facilities for other needs like preschool care and provide these services completely free and discounted. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lashida Lee. Rashida.
Yes, hi. My name is Rashida Lee. Thank you, Council, for allowing me to address you, and thank you so much for your time. I would like to speak today supporting the Housing Justice Montgomery budget platform. I have been in shelter for almost 2 years in June. The journey has been one filled with ups and downs. It's been a struggle trying to get housing moving from one administration to the next. There has been no promise of accessing housing for individuals who lost their place due to hardships or loss of employment. I've met several people from all walks of life along this journey. Although we all have different stories, one thing we do have in common is we are growing very tired and weary of no programs that are non-existent or closed to individuals. We are losing hope. I've also seen a couple of people fall into depression and end up losing their life. This is a very fixable problem that is increasing daily. Please restore hope and dignity back to the homeless community. Make us believers in gaining full access to our own lives again. Most people may never understand the mental toll it can take on a person. I urge you to fund $80 million for housing stabilization services to stop evictions. We also need $20 million for rapid rehousing so individuals can leave shelter. We also need $27 million for permanent supportive housing for most vulnerable unhoused neighbors. We also need $182 million for Housing Initiative Fund to build enough new affordable housing. We need $3.3 million for moving assistance and storage to keep items safe while we work on finding housing. And we also need $9.5 million for SHARP so families and individuals can move into housing faster. Funding to staff and implement the eviction notification law. Council, you have the power and the funding to ensure that this problem is taken care of and restoring hope back to the community. If one suffers, we all suffer. Thank you.
Thank you. Sergine Yango.
Good evening, Council President, Vice President, and member of the Council. My name is Sergine Yango. I have been a proud resident of Montgomery County for 27 years and a mother of 3. I live in the White Oak area of Silver Spring, where I serve as a leader with the Enclave Tenant Association and Housing Justice Montgomery. I also serve my community as a deacon at the Revelation Church. I am here today to use the council to fund $80 million for the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. Right now, thousands of our neighbors are stuck on the Iraq west list. There are people who have followed every rule, filled out every form, and have been waiting and truly praying for months. They are living in a state of constant survival mode, never knowing if the next knock on the door is the sheriff. This $80 million is what is required to clear that list and honor the promise we made to these families that help will be available. As a tenant leader, I see the housing crisis not as a set of statistics, but as a series of tragedies. Just last month, I witnessed 16 families in my community being evicted in a single wave. It was heartbreaking to see the life of my neighbors, people I see every day, suddenly piled on a sidewalk. My fellow leaders worked together to help one family find temporary shelter, but that support only lasts until the end of March. We know that when a family is stable, they can finally breathe. Housing stability is the foundation of everything else. It relieves the crushing mental, emotional, and physical stress that comes with the fear of the street. It means a child can stay in the same school with the same teachers and friends who knows them. It means a parent has the home base needed to keep a job and contribute to our local economy. Providing this assistance is also a matter of fiscal responsibility. It costs our county far more to manage the fallout of homelessness, from emergency shelters to increased healthcare costs, than it does to simply help a family stay in their home. Without this 80 million, we are allowing a circle of crisis to continue. With it, we are building a foundation for a stronger, more compassionate Montgomery County. I urge you to find the full 80 million so that 16 families evicted in 1 month in the story I never have to tell again. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to the families of.
Thank you so much. Thank you to each of you. I'm going to call for the next panel. Stephen Barber, Ani Watson Jr., Glenn Richards, Karine Sayenga, Buddy Sutton, Ryan Hollowell, Edwin Lewis. We're going to start with Stephen Barber. Who's Mrs.? Is that you? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Good evening, members of the County Council. My name is Steve Barber, and I'm a local business owner, chair of the Gaithersburg Germantown Chamber of Commerce, vice chair of Metropolitan Ballet Theater, board member for Story Tapestries, and vice chair for Black Rock Center for the Arts, to which I'm here representing. I have our CEO, Katie Hecklinger, here with me. Thank you, Katie, for all you do for Black Rock and Germantown. I'm here today to address a critical misalignment in the current budget proposal, the disinvestment of Black Rock's civic and community investment funding. We are specifically asking the council to restore the $125,000 budget allocation originally designated for Department of General Services support. It's vital to understand that this is not a request for new funding, but a plea to align existing investment with the county's own vision for the Germantown Town Center. Germantown is the largest unincorporated community in our county. Because we have no municipal government or city funding to fund public programming, Black Rock effectively operates as our civic facility. I want to be very clear about the scale of what we provide. Year to date, Black Rock has provided over $700,000 in underwritten community subsidies to the people of Germantown. This is the direct cost of programming and access that Black Rock absorbs because there is no city government to pick up the tab. While other county civic spaces are supported as public infrastructure, Germantown is being treated differently. This is an issue of equity. The $125,000 cuts target the operating system of our community's gathering space. Without it, there will be fewer free programs and community events, reduced access to the welcoming gathering spaces our residents rely on, a loss of the civic anchor that brings our diverse community together. Furthermore, the county is currently undermining its own leverage. Black Rock is currently managing over $1.8 million in state capital projects and public art on county-owned property. If our operating support is eliminated, we cannot fully activate or maintain those state-funded investments, putting the credibility and future funding at risk. We urge you to recognize Black Rock as a civic infrastructure, not just an arts organization. Without this activation, the county's previous investments in the town center will fail to deliver their full potential. Please restore the $125,000 allocation for civic and community use. Let's ensure that Germantown residents continue to have a welcoming, accessible place to come together, and that our town center remains the vibrant heart of our community. Thank you for your time and commitment to equity in Germantown.
Thank you. Next is Oni Watson Jr.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Ani J.R. Watson, a resident of Germantown for about 6 years now, and a fellow board member of BlackRock Center for the Arts. First, I want to thank the council for providing an opportunity to speak on the 2027 budget, and today I am here to discuss the funds that were not allocated in this budget for BlackRock. Since moving to Montgomery County, I have valued the support the county has placed behind placemaking, community engagement, and the arts. As an arts administrator myself, I know the importance of this work in making a strong community. As you all know, Germantown is the third largest census tract in the state and one of the most diverse cities in the country. While there are many pros to this for our community, there is a massive disadvantage here. We do not have any form of local civil leadership. We rely solely on the county and local nonprofits to support the work that goes into a thriving community. After providing over $700,000 in discounted and free use of our spaces year to date at BlackRock Center for the Arts, a necessity for our community, BlackRock requested a continuation of reimbursement funding for civic and community use through the DGS budget, which was denied and not included into this budget. This can be detrimental. Germantown isn't like the cities in this county, Gaithersburg and Rockville, that have full teams to produce a variety of events and supports for communities. We also do not have anything like an urban partnership that does the similar work. We have our small nonprofits that are already struggling. BlackRock's partnerships and civic programs allow for larger engagement in our community that has long been put on the wayside. Without this funding, many accessible programs will have to be scaled back or even cut. Germantown cannot afford this. In an area where almost 50% of our elementary schools are Title I, our community cannot afford the expensive arts, festivals, and experiences that create a community. When our residents are facing tax increases, are we expected to accept less from our county for Germantown? This is unacceptable. I implore the council to include this funding for BlackRock and in this budget. We have stepped in where the county has lacked. In partnerships with nonprofits, we have taken leadership to create a model where we can combine the arts and civic leadership. The amount of $125,000 we have requested for reimbursement of this work is a drop in the bucket for this county's budget and what has been asked this evening. But if not received, it is detrimental to BlackRock and the residents of Germantown who are already underserved in this county. BlackRock is a unique gem that must be supported and preserved for Germantown's sake.
Thank you. Next, Glenn Richards.
Hi, my name is Glenn Richards, and I respectfully submit this statement urging the County Council to provide full funding for the Montgomery County Park Police. The Park Police are indispensable to the safety, vitality, and resilience of our county's extensive park system. My wife Grace and I have lived in Montgomery County for 39 years, most recently in Boys, where our backyard is the spectacular Black Hills Regional Park. Both of us are Park Police volunteers and have been for more than 15 years, and we regularly visit the parks and interact with the Park Police. Our volunteer work with the Park Police is varied. Grace will often patrol the parks on horseback, assisting park visitors with information and regularly reminding patrons to keep their dogs on leashes. The Park Police Mounted Unit is a critical component of the force, getting to places cars cannot and participating in parades, school events, and other places where horses are highly visible in crowded areas. I often patrol the parks on foot, frequently clearing trails of debris and notifying maintenance when there are trees blocking trail access. Both of us volunteer at widely attended park events, including the 4th of July fireworks at South Germantown, the Garden of Lights at Brookside Gardens, the Color and Kites Festival coming up at Black Hills, and among others. At these events, we provide patrons with parking and other general assistance and provide the Park Police extra sets of eyes and ears to deal with the eventual crisis, including lost children, ill or injured patrons. We coordinate closely with the Park Police, including regular communications until the events are concluded. We also attend monthly volunteer meetings where we learn about upcoming volunteer activities. In our experience, the members of the Park Police are everything that is right about law enforcement: committed, helpful, respectful, supportive, diligent, friendly, and inclusive. We are so fortunate to have them in our community. We understand that the council has difficult decisions to make, and there are many critical programs that require funding. However, the parks are integral to the fabric of Montgomery County, in our opinion, why people love living here. The parks draw thousands of visitors annually, creating a unique public safety environment that differs from traditional urban or suburban park policing. Full funding will ensure adequate staffing to maintain visible park patrols during peak hours and seasons, fund specialized training and de-escalation in outdoor settings. The park police are integral to the safe execution of community events, cultural festivals, youth sports tournaments, concerts, charity runs, and nature and education gatherings. Park police serve a practical role in protecting natural resources from illegal dumping, vandalism, poaching, off-trail damage, and encroachments. The park police employ a community-oriented model that prioritizes visibility, relationships, and prevention. Montgomery County's parks are among our most valued public assets. The park police are essential to safeguarding those spaces and the people who rely on them. We respectfully urge the council to fully fund the park police at levels sufficient to support authorized staffing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, Karen Sayenga.
Good evening. My name is Karen Zayenga, and in the instructions it said to spell any unusual names. I don't think anybody's spelled theirs so far, so mine's not going to be unusual tonight. I'll let you guess how to spell it. I'm here to urge you to fully fund Montgomery College's fiscal year 27 operating budget. Since 2017, I've worked as an instructional associate at the Writing, Reading, and Language Center on the Rockville campus. I'm also the vice president of the Montgomery College Staff Union, AFSCME Local 2380, and tonight I speak on behalf of the staff who make this institution function. Our staff are the backbone of student success. We tutor students, maintain facilities, process financial aid, keep technology running, and support classrooms and labs. But our staff must also be able to afford and work here. Over half of our bargaining unit consists of administrative assistants and facility staff, essential workers who keep our college running. Yet too many are priced out of Montgomery County. Much is made of a living wage, but many of our employees make below the living wage for Montgomery County. Of our 466 staff members, 128 live below the living wage for Montgomery County as single adults. That's 27%. Many more would be below the living wage if they have children. Many work second and third jobs or endure long commutes just to stay in these roles. When staff cannot afford to stay, students feel it. Tutor wait times increase, facilities struggle to keep up with cleaning and repairs, critical services slow down. This is not just a staff issue, it's a student success issue and a community issue. Montgomery College transforms lives. We provide an exceptional education with extraordinary outcomes. With your support, we can maintain safe, modern facilities and retain the dedicated staff our students depend on. Fully funding this budget is not just an investment in the college. It's an investment in Montgomery County's workforce, economy, and future. The MC Staff Union, AFSCME Local 2380, not only wants you to vote in favor of full funding, we need you to. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Buddy Sutton.
S-U-T-T-O-N. To the council members, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak about my concern with the budget. I'm the volunteer fire chief of Laytonsville District Volunteer Fire Department. I've been volunteering for over 40 years. I've been the chief officer of that department for probably 15 or more. I do not support the budget as written. We cannot afford to lose the people at Laytonsville. As written, we're supposed to lose 3 day workers. And let me give you 2 examples. Please look at the documents we provided you. Anybody remember when the house exploded at Rippion's Landscaping? That individual fell into that basement. The only 3 people left back at Laytonsville Fire Department were the same 3 people that are being proposed to leave Laytonsville and on control of the rescue squad. They raced up there that morning, and heard him crying for help, went down in that debris and pulled him out to safety. He's still alive today. And just 3 weeks ago, we ran a 2-car accident out on Route 124, a violent 2-car accident. Spun 1 vehicle around and that individual died in the middle of the street. The other was still alive. A paramedic firefighter crawled into the back window of that car, provided life, oxygen back into that person's alive today because of the efforts of those firefighters and that rescue squad. As they cut the roof off, as they cut the doors off, as they cut and pushed the dash off her chest, waiting paramedics and firefighters were there to receive her body and to make her come back to life because she basically was dying in front of us. I can't tell you how much we need those personnel and that rescue squad. I also want to advise everybody here, Chapter 21 says, I am an equal partner in the Combination Fire Service. I was never notified that this was going to happen. And I would hope we would continue to keep this open dialogue and continue to talk to the county fire chief and continue to talk to the executive and understand why I am not being communicated with as the chief of an LFRD in Montgomery County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, Ryan Hollywell.
Thank you. Thank you for your time this evening. My name is Ryan Hollywell. I am a Rockville resident and a member of the countywide Recreation and Parks Advisory Board, though today I am speaking only for myself. I'm here because of my 7-year-old daughter. She loves all the recreation and parks programs she's involved in, from POMS to piano to ice skating. We've got plans for county summer camps coming up, and who knows what's going to come next. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for making those opportunities available to my kid. Today, I'm urging you to fully fund the Recreation and Parks budget so that they can continue to bring programming to even more families. Despite these departments' best efforts, they just can't keep up with the demand for programming and classes. Our rec department is actually undersized relative to our large population, and this is causing huge wait lists for some programs. And, as someone who believes in good government, those wait lists, they break my heart. They're telling some of our neighbors, we've got what you need, we just don't have enough of it for you. The massive demand for these programs is proof of their success, but we shouldn't leave any of our neighbors standing on the sidelines of a success story. We need to fund the capacity for these departments so their programs are available to anyone who needs it. I just want to highlight 3 trends that I think really are driving the need for investment in recreation right now. First, senior programs in particular struggle to keep up with the demand. Our demographics are changing here. In just a few years, we'll have more county residents over age 65 than under age 18. We need to do everything we can to get ahead of that trend. Many seniors feel these programs are a lifeline, preserving their fitness, fighting isolation, and supporting their independence. And I know they tell your offices that. Second, we've got to give it up to the therapeutic recreation staff. They're creating inclusive opportunities for residents of all abilities. It's just 2 FTEs, and this county is really a leader in this field, a pioneer in this field, but as autism diagnoses increase, we need more staff to meet the growing demands for these programs, especially for young adults and their families. And third, if you've got a kid in your life, you know all about the commercialization of youth athletics. It's pay to play, but the good news is the pendulum is swinging back. There's a growing movement towards play equity, the belief that every kid has a right to play sports regardless of their family's income. And, we believe our recreation department is perfectly positioned to take advantage of that pendulum swinging back this way. But again, we've got to make sure we have the capacity to meet that demand that's coming. Sports classes and rec programming shouldn't be luxuries. Everyone should have the right to play, to convene, to find their community. For seniors who want to remain active, for young adults who want to be seen for their abilities rather than disabilities, and for kids who want to play ball even if their families can't afford travel team fees, I urge you to fully support the Recreation and Parks budgets. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we have Edwin Lewis.
Good evening, council members. My name is Edwina Lewis. I'm a lifelong resident of Montgomery County, and I serve as the Outreach Coordinator for Housing Justice Montgomery. I'm here today because we are in a full-blown housing crisis. And for me and my neighbors, this is not just about affordability, it's also about survival. I speak with residents every single day who are doing everything right and still cannot find safe, affordable housing to live. And the people most impacted by this crisis are disproportionately Black, Latino, disabled, and low-income families. I myself have been waiting 15 years for a housing choice voucher while living in project-based housing that has been neglected and labeled as troubled for years. In my neighborhood alone, I see neighbors and residents that are dealing with leaking pipes, black mold, roach, and pest infestations day after day, while property owners face little accountability and enforcement falls short. We see our neighbors hospitalized for illnesses caused by the conditions of their units. We see our children with breathing issues and skin conditions because of the environment they are living in. Less than 2 miles down the road, one of the largest apartment complexes in the county with over 1,000 units sits dilapidated and crumbling. That is why Housing Justice Montgomery is calling for bold, urgent investment. First, $27 million for permanent supportive housing, because housing really is health care. And without stable housing and services, people with chronic health conditions and disabilities are left to struggle and too often to fall through the cracks. Second, we are asking for $182 million for the Housing Initiative Fund, because we cannot solve this crisis without building and preserving deeply affordable housing. And finally, we must fully fund SHARP for families and for individuals. This program is extremely successful at stopping families from experiencing homelessness, and it's common sense to invest in programs that work. You have the power to make investments that would drastically change our daily lives. We all benefit when people are housed, when communities are stable, and when dignity is not treated as a privilege. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and thanks to each of you for coming tonight. We're going to move on to our virtual session. We're going to start with Bruce Spector. Mr. Spector, can you hear me? Is he muted? There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, great. Good evening, Council President and members of the Council. Thank you for the work you do on behalf of Montgomery County and for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Bruce Spector, and I am Chairman of the Board of BCR Cyber. I am here today as an employer partner of Montgomery College and to express strong support for the college's fiscal year 2027 operating budget. At BCR Cyber, we work with a consortium of more than 40 employers across Maryland, help address one of the most pressing challenges facing our economy, the growing demand for skilled cybersecurity and IT professionals. From our perspective, workforce remains the single greatest constraint to growth across both the public and private sectors in Maryland. Our longstanding partnership with Montgomery College has been instrumental in addressing this challenge. This work builds on earlier efforts through Cyber Pathways Across Maryland, known as the CPAM program, which helped lay the foundation for aligning cybersecurity education with employer needs across the state. Montgomery College is a key partner in the Cyber Workforce Accelerator, where students gain hands-on experience through immersive cyber range training that mirrors real-world threats and environments. This type of experiential learning is critical. Employers are not just looking for credentials, but for individuals who can perform on day one. In addition, our collaboration through the TechMap program has been equally impactful. TechMap provides accessible, industry-aligned pathways into IT and cyber careers, helping to both upskill incumbent workers and create new entry points for individuals seeking to transition into high-demand fields. From an employer perspective, Montgomery College consistently delivers. Their willingness to align curriculum with industry needs, provides hands-on training, and engage directly with employers makes them an invaluable partner. When we see candidates coming from Montgomery College programs, we know they are well prepared. As you consider the FY27 operating budget, I recognize that you are balancing many important opportunities and priorities. I respectfully urge you to continue your strong support for Montgomery College investments. In the college are investments in Montgomery County's workforce, its economic competitiveness, and its ability to meet the evolving demands of a digital economy. Thank you for your time and your leadership.
Thank you. That was your last speaker for the evening. And with that, this public hearing is now closed. We'll see you all back tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Good night.